Welcome to the realm of Millenia. Be ye man, woman, child, a spirit creature, or maybe even a demon. Be ye a native migrator, or maybe even an invader into the lands and the realm. Welcome, for I am your host, the Millenian Mailman, and I'll be world building for you long after you've already begun to acclimate and fit in. So go ahead, sit back, relax, and enjoy this Talkin and Walkin Mailman Monday. It is week 17? I got it. Week 17 already. It is week 17. And the talking point of the hot take this week is that, let me think of okay. That equality and individuality is probably one of the biggest hallmarks to all our moralities as a species of humanity, right? But at the same time, the great promotion hallmark of everyone's equality and individuality is simultaneously at times part of the greatest hindrance to our social societal developments as a whole for all of humanity, right? You might ask, what are you talking about? How does that make sense? Well, it makes sense. I'll explain it all on Wednesday, but in general it makes sense because there's no I in team, unless you say it in a different language, of course. There's no I in team until we're talking about DEI. There's no I in team until diversity is being mentioned, in which case there are 3 I's in that word, as we make everyone equal and make sure to include people in the team, right? But again, I'm not really gonna harp on that too much because that is the entire talking point for the week. But that is the hot take for the week. But yeah, so you stand informed. Look out for the video on Wednesday. But other than that, something that's probably more so on the mind for me right now, because I heard it in a conversation 2 days ago, was I believe someone was making the talking point for their argument discussion was basing their relationship, all the problems on the relationship, it was all bad and toxic because of codependency. And then they went on this rant and tangent for a good about 45 minutes, listing down all the reasons that the codependency and that codependency nowadays is on an all-time rise, an all-time high, and is probably the leading reason that no one understands or knows about for all the relationships failing nowadays. It's codependency's fault, and that's why they're trying to be a strong, independent, individual adult, because codependency is not healthy or good for anybody. And then I was trying to stick out of the conversation, because this is what I do, I debate. I am unfortunately good at arguing. So, not because I actually believe that she's wrong, but I'm a devil's advocate if you asking for my assistance in verifying or validating you. I'm a good argumentative individual, right? So, right away, probably 15 minutes into her talking, not expecting her to even ask my opinion, I already came up with a good devil's advocate take against it. You're asking me to help you validate or negate what you're talking about. Am I correct? Yeah. Tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong. I'm please don't say that. I can prove you wrong in a heartbeat. Please don't say that. No, tell me. So your argument is that codependency is such a toxic thing, ruining all relationships, right? Yeah. How about we consider the fact that no one in all of real human history has ever not been codependent on something. We've all been codependent on something or someone all of our lives since the day you were born. Codependence being a natural human and probably a mammal character, if we're being honest. The most natural version of that is codependence on your fellow tribesmen, your fellow species, right? You're either codependent on people, on objects, or your religious belief. Those are the real three categories of codependence, whether you want to believe it or not. If you're not addicted to your cell phone or social media and the likes and follows of this generation, you're likely codependent on some nicotine, on some caffeine, or some other material thing like money, where that's your only codependency. If you're not codependent on a material thing, you're codependent on the ideological, theological belief of some religious practice. Christians have this codependence when all else fails that their God will help them. Islam believers, Muslims, Buddhists, when all else fails, the beliefs and the practices of them and their respective followers, a part of the religion, fall back on filial piety or the belief in their God that'll make everything better. And lo and behold, the most bare bone basic of you being the same species or race as another, be you black, white, human, a crocodile, a Apache helicopter, you can all rely on each other. You have an innate codependence to those somewhat or probably just like you. That is nothing new. And as a little kid back in the day, in my age, that thing that I became codependent on was stuffed animals. I wasn't balling out here to really become codependent on no toys like a transformer machine or something. Nah, I had a nice warm ass bed, and when I went to sleep, I cuddled me a nice little stuffed animal. It's ridiculous. Some people were balling, they could have a million pillows and stuff. I got my stuffed animal, that was my pillow, and sometimes I didn't even have a blanket. I got my stuffed animal, that's my body heat right there. Some people's parents let them sleep in bed with them up to the age of 12, so they could remain codependent on the physical connection with other people. If your family was even broker than that, and you had siblings, you could become codependent on the connection of your siblings as you slept or something. There is nothing new to codependency, and it's not ever going to go anywhere. Anyone who's selling you this idea that codependency is toxic and unhealthy is probably a psychiatrist or pharmacist trying to get you to be codependent on their drugs or on their counseling, which yet again is a codependency on both an idea and ritualistic practice as much as it is a codependency on the person who convinced you to believe in it. Stupid. So my basic argument, which she really wasn't happy about, was that this belief that codependency is unhealthy and toxic is actually the belief of and revelation that either you're stupid or you're just gullible and someone's taking advantage of you to believe in that. And if you're offended by what I said, it's either because you're stupid or someone just revealed how gullible you were into believing that codependency was somehow a bad thing, even though you are, every single person alive who's not brain dead is codependent. And even the brain dead one in vegetables somehow are codependent upon the fact that they need to be hooked up to IV. They gotta be hooked up to some power source before someone pulls the plug on them. They are codependent on it, right? Codependence is such a weird argument. I could easily shut it down. And the mainstay of that argument piece that I put just to nail the coffin in was the fact that what she was probably trying to argue is that the people and the things certain individuals are putting their codependence to, especially the people, is a rather toxic thing, because they probably should have never been connected to those people, let alone building a sense of codependence with those people who were never any good for them. So that's basically how I shut that argument down. She didn't like it one bit. Not one bit. But hey, that's just me. Your Millenia Mailman being the regularly despised devil's advocate. So it was a nice little day. But yeah. Nice little day. I crossed both of those streets and didn't get ran over. That was nice. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's just me. Your Millenia Mailman here. If you liked what I had to say or anything of the sort, go ahead and like the video. Comment down in the comment section below any thoughts, comments, concerns you might have, or maybe even other thoughts and opinions down in that comment section down below. I will surely read it. And by all means, share the video for more exposure if you feel like it. Dislike the video or choose not to subscribe or unsubscribe if you truly mean it. Hurts me no way. I appreciate you either way. Appreciate you for sticking by. But hey, I'll be world building here and pumping out more videos faster than the gears can turn that way. So go ahead and peace.